Girl, I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
Wait, let's chat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Chat GPT with Maria and Omna. We are so excited to have you back again. We are here with a really fun episode. Travel, everyone's favorite topic. Am I right?
Absolutely. It's one of our favorite things to do. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about some of our travel stories or maybe today we'll be more focused on us talking about hot takes and sharing some of our travel tips because we both have different experience, like varied experience with traveling, but especially nowadays with social media and everything, everyone's like constantly posting all the beautiful places they've been and romanticizing all the traveling all the time and living on the road and stuff. So we want to talk about it a little bit and give our takes. And if we don't get to all the fun stories, we have so many fun stories. So maybe we can even have a follow-up episode where we share fun little stories and stuff. Um, but yeah, to start us off, I want to ask you, Maria. We always make it so intense. I have a question for you. I want to ask you what your experience with travel is. Like, what was your first big trip that you took by yourself or just like big trip? Because you have done a lot of traveling and you have like a total love for it. You're like a wanderlust soul traveler girly. So I want to hear about like how you got into it and then like a little bit of your experience.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And what's funny is that growing up, I never really thought of myself as like someone who wanted to travel or explore too much. But my first time abroad was when I studied abroad during my undergrad, and it was Australia. So my very first time out of the US was all across the globe, which is kind of insane. Most people, it's like Canada or Mexico, where it's still like North America, but I went to Australia and I did 4 months there, and I like traveled in the country, and then I just like explored within my own like city and everything, and that was really cool. And then that was fun, and I think it was a really good intro for my first like trip of traveling and being abroad, but I didn't feel culture shock. I feel like a lot of people talk about culture shock and just being completely like, whoa, like this is so different from what I'm used to. I didn't feel that until my very first real, I guess, solo trip to Thailand.
Ooh. Wait, what city were you in Australia when you did the travel abroad?
So I did my study abroad in Brisbane, and in those 4 months, I stayed there, and then I went to Thailand within my study abroad as well.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so what was that like?
Yeah, so Thailand was so, and I feel like now, like this was in 2017, so I was like in Thailand and traveling before all the cool kids were doing it. But
Mm, you were an
it
OG.
was OG
You should have
traveler.
been cramming it. Like you could have been popping by now. Not that you're
I
not.
know, right? No, I'm you're like you're behind. No, so Thailand was so cool. It was so different from what like anything I've ever experienced or knew. And Australia was so fun because it's like, oh my gosh, you speak English, I speak English. We're just here to laugh, have a good time. But Thailand, I was like, oh my gosh, like Sawatika? Like I guess. I was like, I need to learn the language. I need to actually like be more aware of my surroundings, and Thailand was actually like such a vibe. It was so funny because I had another friend who was studying abroad there, so I met up with her for I think like one of my days there, and she had all of her study abroad friends, so we just traveled, explored the city. But it was so different. That was my first time of people being like, "Can I take a picture of you?" And I was like,
Why?
"Just a black girl."
In
Like,
Thailand? Really? There's no. That's insane. So you, oh my God, so you got to like feel the celebrity life just because you're like different. Everyone's like, especially when you have the blonde hair too, because when we were in Italy, you had the blonde hair and everyone was like, whoa. And I'm like, no, they're staring at you because you look like a freaking model. That's why.
yeah, you definitely had to keep reassuring me because I was definitely like, do they want to fight? Like, let's go.
You're like, I'm about to start beating people. No, it's definitely really annoying when you can feel everyone as you walk down the street staring at you. But at the same time, I think it helps to like keep in mind the fact that you're taller. You're like almost 6 foot, aren't you? Like 5'10" or something. No,
Yeah.
you're 5'10". You're like have this beautiful skin. You have a big blonde afro, or like I don't know what hair you had at the time, whatever. So it's like if people are looking, it's just because you do stand out, but that doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing. And also like it's a good thing to stand out because if you look like everybody else would be busted as hell. So good for you. But it is hard. Like when you just are experiencing that, you're like, what do you want? Like get away from me.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I was actually like, I was pretty kind. I think that now I'm like more like in that fight mode, but I was like, now that I've aged a bit, I, but no, I had people take pictures of me and I took pictures with some other people and it was really cool. I went to Bangkok, of course, and then I did Chiang Mai and Pai, and they're smaller towns a bit more up north. And they were so beautiful and so peaceful. And Pai was probably my favorite, but it's definitely like a touristy place, I would say. It was very like everything was written in English and there were a bunch of like backpackers from all over the world, but it was still like such a cute spot. And yeah, during that time, I rented a motorbike as well, and I was like driving through the mountains by myself, and I was like, wow, like life is so beautiful.
So I have a question. Did you feel, because that was like, was that your first solo trip, like by yourself in another country? And I know you said you met up with a friend, but were you like staying in hostels? Did you have any like fear with that? Like, I'm by myself, I don't know anybody. Like, did you feel, because I feel like we've always, like, you're very like, I would say kind of fearless with like doing things by yourself or being in like super unknown territory on your own. And like for me, safety is always a concern because I'm always like, ew, this person's like gonna try to touch me, or like, why is that person like with the staring? It's like, why are they staring? Are they gonna kidnap us? So it's like, did you have that, or were you just kind of like, it's beautiful and I feel safe? Like, I don't know if Thailand's like that vibe.
Honestly, I feel like it was just, it's beautiful. I feel safe. There's all these new people. I'm so excited. And I think in general, like hostel culture for me was something that I learned about and welcomed with open arms. I was like, oh my gosh, I get to stay in a room with like five other people and maybe they'll be my friends and we can hang out and explore together. Like, how is that not the coolest thing ever? But I know like when we were planning our trip, I was like, by that time, I was like years into hosteling. So I was like, oh yeah, like let's just hostel. And it never really occurred to me that other people might have a different like look on hosteling and hostel culture.
Or like I don't, for me that was like our first trip. You were kind of, I think I had just never like stayed at a hostel, or like I didn't even really know what it was like. So it was just, I know for sure like I would be uncomfortable in a co-ed hostel, like just period, because I have trust issues. Like I just be like I can't sleep comfortably not knowing like if I'm gonna wake up and someone's staring at me in the middle of the night or something weird is gonna happen. But like through that experience, like first of all, the hostel. I don't think that in our time we stayed at, and like we only stayed at the one hostel in Italy, right? Like in Rome, and that was like amazing. We got our own room and our own bathroom and everything, so that didn't like feel that much of a hostel. But I stayed at a hostel in Iceland, and then I stayed in one in Milan as well, and both of those were like the full mixed rooms. And I do remember like in Iceland in my hostel at some point there were like cops called and stuff, but I was so dead tired that I had passed out, and I woke up in the middle of like being just like in the deepest sleep of my life, like straight up coma. And like woke up and the lights were on and there was this older lady and a cop and they both saw me and like looked at me like, oh, and I was like, what's happening? And they were like, nothing. And I just like went back to sleep. So there was drama, but I had no idea. And like it was just so, I totally fell in love with it because like you said, it's awesome, especially if you stay like in an all girls hostel room. Like if you have that safety thing that I do. Co-ed sounds really fun, but I'm like, I just know people would like bang or do something annoying and I'd be like annoyed. But like, yeah, you get to meet people that are also, a lot of people are also solo traveling or in a group or whatever, and they can give you tips on where to travel. They can tell you about where they've been going. Like, it's so much fun. And I definitely was like, okay, if I travel somewhere where I'm really curious about like the local culture and I really want to have like a more adventurous rather than like vacation feel, then hostels are the way to go. And I have some friends now, like we were talking about it, of like planning a trip this year, and I'm like, I want to stay in a hostel, and they're hesitant, and I'm like, it's just because you haven't done it, because I was the same way before. So you were like my intro to hostel life, and it really was. It's so fun. It's so cool, and yeah, you have to. I mean, it's definitely like a more social rather than like secluded kind of experience, but it's so fun.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say it's probably not for everyone. If there's people who are like, I just want that hotel feeling, like I don't want to really meet people. I want to feel like I'm going on vacation to like live that life, then it's like, okay, maybe a hostel's not the best for you. But like if you're even if you're like, oh, I'm a bit shy, it's like, okay, a hostel's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Like people will be friendly and you can choose like when you want to open up and when you want to talk. Like it's not like, oh my gosh, we're all in a hostel and we all have to talk and be best friends. I've had beef in hostels before. Like I can't
I
like
believe it. I'm not surprised. No, I'm just kidding. Because it is also hard not to get annoyed because there are people you don't know. So, like, yes, the plus side is you get to meet cool people that you vibe with. You get to, like, have friends to go out with, or maybe they tell you what they're doing and whatever. And even, like, the people at the front desk, if you go chill at the lobby, or, like, if they have a bar, or if they have whatever, like, you can just meet so many cool, sexy, cute people. But the downside of that is you could also be in a room with someone who's annoying, who does things that you think are like inappropriate or annoying, or come home in the middle of the night drunk and are being loud, or like invite other people over or whatever. So there's like all these things where it's like you are also, or like make the bathroom dirty if you're sharing a bathroom or whatever. But I think also there's like different tiers to hostels. There's like some that are really crusty and some that are like nice. And it's just like staying in a shared environment, but it's not necessarily like you can get kind of like what we got in Rome, where we had our own room and our own bathroom. Like it was amazing.
yeah, no, that was incredible. And you're right, there's definitely different tiers because I've stayed in some like budget, like 12 euro a night hostels, and you're like questioning your like sanity and like,
Yeah. What am I
is
doing?
this worth it? Yeah, and then I've stayed in some like 40 euro a night hostels where I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Like, especially in France, I've stayed in some really nice hostels, but I had like I normally go for like the mid-range ones where it's like, I don't know, like 20-ish, 30 a night, and you're like, okay, okay, yeah, like that should be fine, but like, can I share a horror story? Like,
No, yeah, please
okay.
do.
I have like, I actually had a cop one as well, but like this lady was like, yeah, it was in Germany. She was like yelling like racist slurs at me of all people. I was like, I'm not even trying to like, I just got here. I'm trying to like go to sleep and just chill, like what's happening. But she was also like, I think being psychotic from like a couple of other days before. So I think they just like had their limits with her. So the police had come and taken her, and I was like, ah. But
I'm really I'm fine.
I'm tired. That's not my horror story. That's a horrible story, but that's not my horror story. I was in Italy. I've been to Italy a lot, actually, but love that. I was in like maybe like an six or eight bedroom hostel. Actually, so much happened in this hostel because there was this like guy who was like, "Ah, oh, African, you and me, like
Oh wait, I'm
friends."
saying that. So you stayed in a co-ed. You don't care about staying in co-eds. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've stayed. I do like my like just female only dorms. So I like they're a bit more expensive and I don't mind. So I do co-ed like pretty often. There's also been times where I've stayed in co-ed dorms and I've been the only girl in there. And part of me is like, they should fix that. Like that's not okay. Like either bring another girl or like just keep that a boy hostel or a boy dorm then. But
Yeah,
I've stayed in
that's
like
crazy.
it's been me and like three or four other guys and like a six. So it's like me. Then there's like one bed empty, and I'm like, is a girl coming or like what are they doing? But like it's all been safe. I felt like very safe and everything. But like this co-ed one, there was like there was this like I think they were from Latin America, but they were traveling like for months. And like we just weren't quite sure like what was happening in the room, but it stank like reeked like proper like the second you open the door you just get a whiff of like just this like
Ew.
musty, like nasty, like sewery, and I was just like, what the heck is going on? And we couldn't like pinpoint it, and we were all like talking about it amongst ourselves, like in our small groups, but we never talked about it like as a room. And I remember inviting my friend I just met, Kiki, actually. That's the trip I met her on. And I was like, you should come to my room. And this other Aussie guy was like, yeah, come to our room. Like, come check it out. And the second she got in there, she was like, what the fuck? I was like,
Oh my god. Why is he like, come check it out, come in here, you need to smell this? Those kind of evil.
it was disgust. I was like, oh my gosh. So basically it turns out that the cousins, like the Latin American cousins, they like hadn't done their laundry in like
Oh,
weeks or a month or something or 2 months, like, and it was their laundry that was like stinking up the
no.
whole room.
Because that's the thing, like, I follow so many people on Instagram that are like the barefoot walker, travelers, constant, like, full on nomad life. And like, when you watch it, like, they look a little dirty, but like, I'm always like, oh my god, they're free, they're fun. But I'm like, that's crusty. Like, you know, they're crusty. And there's no reason to go. I mean, I love that for them. Like, I think that's great for them. But I'm like, for me personally, there's no reason to go that far. Like, I'm like, we can have that, but also maintain our like bougie at the same time.
Yeah, and like it's okay to be clean and like, earthy. Like they can go together.
I think that's also what's like really fun. Like even now, just like living in general, I'm like it's actually really fun to try to be as resourceful as you can. Like being like, okay, I want to do a workout class. Like what free workout classes are there? Or like I need to do my laundry. Where's a place I can go do my laundry for free? Or like whatever. Because there's actually so much like ways that you can do things for either really cheap or free, but you kind of have to like be resourceful. And it's really fun to like get in that mindset of like, if I want something, how can I get it for free? And then you get to like, I don't know, like find fun activities to go. Like if you're like, okay, I want like free lunch today. Like I know that sounds impossible, but maybe you can look it up and there's an event where they're having like free samples and like or whatever. So it's like kind of fun if you think about it to do things that way. But yeah, hostels are very interesting. Okay, so you did Australia, Thailand, and then after that, did you come back home, like to
Yeah.
the States, and then you just kind of did some travel trips, or you
Yeah, so
just
I finished my I finished my study abroad, and then I like graduated, did the year out. So December 2017, we finished university together. And that's another story actually, but that can be for another time when you like walked me through my like bawling of me giving my the grad speech, but that's something else. And 2017, 2018, I started a master's, blah blah blah, whatever, didn't finish it, but now I have a master's. And then I went to Australia again. So I was like, I love Australia. I want to live there. That's where my life is. So I did a working holiday visa. And
Mhm.
I did that for 9 months, and I did Sydney this time. So I lived in Sydney, worked in Sydney, and then like worked like at one point I had like 4 or 5 different jobs, but they were all like fun things, and I really enjoyed like all of them. And then I got into modeling a little bit there too. So I was like doing that, and then working at like a high-end eyeglasses shop, and like just doing like working at a nightclub, all of this fun stuff. And I did a road trip. So I did a combination of like flying to places, but then I did a road trip from Melbourne to Perth, which took like 10 or 11 days, I think.
Oh my
So
gosh, and
like proper like camping, or like hostels. And then like one time I think we slept in the car because it was super cold at our campsite. We were like, oh, we can't do this, but that was fun. And then that time I went to Indonesia. I went to Bali
um,
and did like Bali, the Gili Islands, and that was like at that point, like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like very well traveled, very well versed. So I welcome like anything and everything, as opposed to like my first time being in Thailand, where I was like what is this place? Like, what who are these people?
who are you? Why are there no pale skins here? I'm they're like looking at you like, who are you? And you're like, where are the white people? I'm god.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to learn like, Indonesian, Balinese, like all of that stuff. Like I'm ready for it. And it was just like, it was really fun. Like I really loved Indonesia and I loved Indonesian food and everything. And it was just like such a good time. And I met people and throughout like all of this, like I'm also very much like meeting people in hostels, meeting people on Bumble, like whether it's like dating Bumble, Bumble BFF. So I like had met some guy on Bumble and like I ended up hanging out with him for a good portion of my trip and like that was really fun and we did like random things and just explored together. So yeah, that was my time in Australia and that was 9 months. So Indonesia was like a week or something or 2 weeks and then Australia was the full 9 months. Then I went back to the States and then I worked a bit and then I went to Europe for the first time for 2 months, and that was before COVID hit. And it's really funny because I remember I was like traveling and I was like, oh my gosh, when I go back home, like I don't want to travel at all for like a year or
You were just
two.
over it, yeah.
I was like, I need to rest. And then like COVID happened, and I was like, did I like single-handedly cause COVID?
You
Because
manifested COVID because you were like, if I can't travel for a year, no one can travel for a year. You're like, can everyone pause so I don't get FOMO because I need a break? And then the universe was like, we gave you pandemic. Oh my god. You
yeah,
really, I actually, yeah, the pandemic, like, luckily, it's very privileged to have that experience, but it was very chill for me as well. I was like, I need time with my family, and then it happened, and I was getting like half my salary still. I was like, okay. And then my rent was like paused. I was like, wait, can we just, I was like, pause it forever? And I never paid. JK.
yeah. And so yeah, that was Europe was really cool. Europe was fun, but also like, you know, I think my like recklessness caught up to me at some point because I had like a not so pleasant experience like with which ended up with me like having to like report someone to the police and everything. And so I was like, okay, like maybe I need to like take a book from like Omnis page or like someone's page and like just be a bit more cautious with like who I talk to, who's like in my circle and everything. But then yeah, Europe happened. That was cool. And then I moved to I guess the UK in like a year or two because I got my master's and then we had our travels, but that was not supposed to be our first trip together actually.
Yeah, well, I think we've said it before on the podcast where we were like, we're supposed to go to Australia, or I was supposed to go visit you when you were living in Australia and it didn't work out. And that's when I was living in Austin. I remember I was so excited because it was going to be my first like big trip, like out of, I think, well, I had been, so that's another thing that I was going to ask you. I'm like, growing up, did your family do like road trips and stuff? Because like when I was growing up, like we had like my parents did, like we didn't grow up very rich or anything, so they couldn't take us on like big long flights anywhere really, or like but we do a lot of road trips. So like I just like love road trips to this day because they feel so like cozy and fun. I don't like driving, but like I love when someone drives me places. Um, but we did like road trips to Oklahoma and like we did a really big road trip from Texas to Michigan to visit like my mom's like bestie, and then my family, like some of my mom's sister had moved to Canada, like Mississauga or whatever, so we like drove all the way to Michigan. And my mom is kind of crazy. Like my dad's super chill. He's very like, okay, we have this like, I don't know how long it was supposed to be. I think it was like 24 hours, 26 hours, whatever, however long the drive is. And my dad's like, okay, we'll split it up and like stay at a hotel here and then do that. And my mom's like, we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna send it and just go. And like that's like the pure difference between my parents. So it was a mix of like, I think one night we stayed somewhere, but my mom just wanted to like drive and get there to the point where at the end of it, like she's dozing off and me and my sister are in the back and like my brother and my dad are asleep. And I just remember being like, I have to stay awake because if I fall asleep, if my mom falls asleep, we're all like dead. Like it was just so intense and funny. We all talk about it to this day. But yeah, so we did like Canada little travels. Like they took us to the shore, like to the Gulf or whatever, a few times, like South Padre and San Antonio. We came to San Antonio, and one of my brother's friends came with us, and they were like being naughty on the trip and stuff. But yeah, so like we had like a lot of like little trips growing up. So I had like some experience. I think we did like a few to California and stuff, but I had never done like a me by myself at that point. I don't think, other than like little trips to Austin or maybe a few trips to like San Diego and stuff with my friend group, but like nothing like that big just on my own, I guess. I'm trying to like really think about it because sometimes I
Yeah.
forget, but I'm pretty positive that's the vibes.
Yeah, I actually love road trips. I love driving. Like
I you said that.
I moved to I guess yeah, small move, not so small, but I moved to LA during COVID and I drove there by myself.
It's the vibe, like having all your stuff in the car and like playing music and just even like by yourself, it's kind of a huge vibe. Like I drive long distances by myself all the time because like when I was living in Austin, I'd always drive to Dallas and like even now I do those drives and stuff and I'm like it just feels like I don't know what that feeling is, but for me whenever I'm like you have all your stuff in the car packed up and you're like ready to go somewhere, it feels very like anything is possible is the vibe. And I know
Yeah.
that that's just the feeling. You're like anything's possible and you feel like I don't know, it's just so good. I love it. I do
I
love a road. Yeah.
I think what that is like it's like open roads, like just like hopefully it's a clear sky, but like
Yeah.
from the sky and you're
Yeah.
just like wow, like life is a highway and I do want to ride it all night long.
Oh, that's my nephew's favorite song. They get it. But yeah, I know it really is such a vibe. There was one time I love storms. Like anytime I meet someone and they don't like storms, I get so confused. Like, do you like a thunderstorm or are you like, I'm scared?
My
Like,
favorite is when like you can tell it's about to rain, so the clouds are really like gloomy and dark, but it's like not rained yet. Or also when it's like that, but the sun is shining like somewhere else that you can see. So it's like I like that juxtaposition.
you like that? I feel like I hate that because to me that's a tease. Like all this, like the clouds are in the sky and it's all gloomy, but I'm like, come on, like rain. You know, it's like you're edging at that point. I don't like it. But I love a thunderstorm. I love lightning. Like lightning is my favorite thing in the world. And just like I think I've said this before, but like being a storm chaser sounds lit. Like I would have loved that job. And me and my mom used to like sit around and just watch tornado videos on YouTube together and be like, so cool. But one of the times I was driving, I think from San Antonio back up to Dallas or whatever, it was storming, like borderline flooding. And I'm the type of person that's like, I'm just gonna keep driving, like I can do this. And I just like kept driving. It was getting so bad. And then I had to pull over because there was like too much water and whatever. And I remember being at the gas station and being like, okay, I'm like a little bit like I don't panic for like a pretty good amount of time. So when I start to panic, I feel like extra scared because I'm like, why am I getting panicky? You know? Because it's like I was so calm, and then I was at the gas station. And it was like raining really hard, and there was like a creepy dude in the car, like watching me, like staring at me from his car, and I was like. He thinks that I'm like helpless, so I have to pretend to not be scared. But I was like nervous because I was like, what do I do? I'm like halfway, and like I'm in the car. I can't like fly home or whatever. But I think one of the things I think that makes me feel safe in travel is like if you have money saved up, like I would feel very unsafe if I was like in a position where I legitimately didn't have like any savings or anything to like pull from or even a credit card I could max out or anything. Like if you don't have that's so beautiful that there's credit cards now for people. I know all those travelers are maxing them out. But like something to where if you're in a position where you're super stuck, like you could just buy a plane ticket back home. Or you could like book a hotel for the night. Or you know what I mean? Like you have that option of like I can find a solution for myself and you're not just genuinely like I'm stuck and there's nothing I can do and I'm stuck. Like I would hate that feeling. So that's what gives me like a sense of peace is being like, okay, I have my backup plan. So like no matter what happens, like worst case scenario, I'm good. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I I like to think that people's families. I remember when I had my like the incident in Europe, like after the police and everything, my auntie was like, "Come home." Like I'll get your ticket. It's just time to come home. And I was like, I was being stubborn. I was like, no, I'm not going to let that define my trip. Like, I'm better than that. And I finished my trip out, one, because, like, I don't know, you just don't let things bring you down.
Yeah.
And two, I was just like, someone's telling me to come home, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so, but I was like, I would like to think that people who maybe like let's say they've maxed out all their credit cards and they like don't have money, like I would hope that like there's family that's like, okay, I'll get your ticket, like, but you do need to come home and you need to get a job and you know, like you need to get your life sorted. So yeah, I think backup plans are good and I know that like I have my family to count on if I'm
Yeah.
ever in a position.
Yeah, I think that's just like me in general. I'm like, you always have to have an escape plan and then you can feel safe. Um, yeah. Okay, wait. So did you travel growing up with your parent or like growing up with your family and stuff? Did you guys do little trips and stuff or not as much?
Yeah, we did. I feel like we did a lot actually. And you know, like my family's also like Chicago slash Gary based. So
Yeah.
we would drive up a lot, like to Chicago slash to Gary over the summers. Or I remember one time I took like a Greyhound at like 18 because my family was getting tickets and I was like, I'm in uni and my mom's not getting my tickets. So I took the Greyhound all the way up from Dallas to Chicago and that was like longer than just driving. But yeah, we would do that a lot. And then we went down to like Austin and San Antonio a few times. And I remember like in San Antonio there was like this dollhouse store and I was like, I want a dollhouse. And I don't know why, but it's just like such a distinct memory in my mind.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, but that was mostly where we would go. I think we might have driven to like Atlanta. Oh, we did Louisiana as well because we have family there. But never anywhere west. We never like did a road trip west. It was always just like north
Mhm.
or I guess east. Yeah, or
Yeah.
south. But we didn't really go to like the beach or anything, so never like South Padre. I don't think I've ever been to South Padre Island.
I think, well, like, I think one of my friends took me to the North Shore for the first time, or like, not North Shore, I think it's like North Padre, whatever. It's like the North Padre instead of South Padre. It's like, wait, it's like 2 hours from San Antonio. So if you come to San Antonio, I'll take you. But it's really, really close, and it's better than South Padre because South Padre is like a little bit more like tour or like just more packed, but South Padre or North Padre you can like camp on the beach and stuff, and we did that a few times. Like we went out with tents and stuff and we camped on the beach. And then one of the times that I went, it was like with one of my close friends at the time. We went just like me and her, I think one of the times. I don't remember if there was like any, maybe like one other friend. I don't remember. But she's like kind of an anxious person. And I remember like that night we got a fire going on the beach and some people came over and it was just like a chill vibe. And she was getting really anxious and we were like trying to sleep in the tent and she kept being like, I feel like the tide's gonna rise while we're sleeping. I'm like, I'm again, not, I really don't feel like I'm that anxious a person. Like, yes, I'm cautious. I'm very like observant and aware, but I don't actually worry. You know, like I'm not like, oh my God, what's that guy doing? I'm just like, that guy's being a freak. Like, making a mental note of it or whatever. But like, anyway, she just kept saying it to where I got so like, I was like, I'm just gonna sleep in the car because now I can't go to sleep because you keep saying the tide's gonna rise while we're sleeping. We're gonna wake up in the ocean. So I think I don't remember if she slept in the tent and I slept in the car, if we both slept in the car, but I don't even mind sleeping in the car. There was a few times in college where it was just like a night out and me and my friend couldn't go home or like go anywhere, so we'd sleep in the car. Like we didn't care. It's fun. I feel like just doing anything that's like adventurous is so fun. Like just adventure to me is like the highlight of life. I love doing things that just make you feel like you're like fun, having a good time and stuff. So, and definitely travel helps you tap into that. So, my main thing is like meeting people that don't want to travel. So, like, the thing that I would have to say to anybody that's listening is that if you obviously, there's all these misconceptions, which we're going to talk about, like, travel has to be super expensive or whatever, all these other things that people want to say. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to travel, even if it is traveling to a city that is an hour away from your city, just to start going to new places and talking to people when you're there and like starting to gain new perspectives. It's so life changing to recognize like if you stay in your same town and you like literally develop no interest towards different ways of living, you think that your little bubble and your little world that you've created is it, but you don't even realize that like one of the things that I would always say is like just because you were born in a city or your parents decided to settle down in a city does not mean that city is meant for you. Cities have personalities, countries have personalities and cultures, and like every city is genuinely, I see it like a person. It feels to me almost like a relationship with a person when you are living in a new city, because that city has its own personality, its own culture, its own whatever, and sometimes you're compatible and sometimes you're just not. And there is that perfect, I don't want to say perfect place, but there are places where you're going to thrive way more and experience way more than in other places. So don't stay somewhere just because you were put there. Like go try to experience all these different places and see what really calls to you, because sometimes it will shock you how you are in a city or in a state or in a city. Like even if you're in a state, you have to be in a specific part of it, but whenever you're like in a place and you just feel it and you're like, oh my god, I love this place, it's like crazy. It's such a good vibe. Like you really can connect with like certain areas. And we kind of talked about that with the astrocartography. Like you were sending me the astrocartography thing. Like you're a little bit more into astrology than I am, but I do believe that. I do believe that there's certain cities that hold like really powerful energy for each person, and like exploring that helps you find it. Like you'll go to a city that maybe everyone thinks is beautiful. Like, okay, maybe you go to Italy and you're like, nah. And then you go to Germany and you're like, yes, like this grungy people, these are my people. Or like you go to, I don't freaking know, Greenland or Scotland or wherever, and you meet people and you just can fall in love with it. It's like such a beautiful thing. And it's like, don't not explore the world. You only get one life. Don't live it in a little bubble and then think that that's safe, because it's not. It's actually the opposite of safe to have that mindset and to stay comfortable. You're wasting your life, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I mean, or is that bad? I mean, I'm thinking about this like when I talk to like, I don't know, like friends or family or something that's not that into traveling and seeing the world. And I'm like, why? Like, you only have one life, and there's like an ocean out there that you need to go like touch the sand. And there's like beautiful forests out there you need to go touch. Like, you do. It's like, why don't you want to experience these things? But that might just be like my subjective like belief is just I am so called since I was younger, have always been so called towards that like adventure and stuff. But so maybe it's harsh to say it's a waste of your life, but I'm just telling you, like, there's just so much experience. It will change your life if you go and do it.
Yeah, I think I think that traveling, whether it's like international or just like to another city, another state, like another country in the like in North America or another nearby country if you're listening like in Africa or like Europe, like your nearby countries. I feel as though like I don't know. I do think you have to feel like something inside to want to do it, because I've met people like I mean, well not now at 28, but like I remember like 19, 20, 21 even they're like, "Oh, I've never left Texas. Like I've never left the state." And I was like, "What do you mean? You've never left the state, you know?" Or like I met some people who were like, "Oh, I've never like left the US," which I was like, "That's fine. Like you're 20, 21, 22, like that's okay." And they're like, "Yeah, but I also don't have a desire to." I'm like, okay, now that's a bit like, oh, like, why not? And it's like, it really is something that you just need to feel. And I'm not quite sure if it's like, if that feeling comes from wanting to feel connected to the world, to the earth, to like explore other societies, other communities, or if it's, oh, I just want to travel because I want warmth and I live in like Michigan and it's never warm here. But like, I guess what pulls people to travel will be different from others, but I genuinely like don't know what's missing from the people who are like don't care, don't care to see anything, don't want to. Like I'm not quite sure if it's like do they not want to connect with other cultures, or is that just like my mindset? Is it that they don't, I don't know. If you are someone who doesn't have any interest in traveling, put down below in the comments as to why. Let us know why so we can better understand you. We won't roast you. We won't, Amna won't say it's a waste of your life. She won't say that. We just want to know.
I actually take it back because every time you say that kind of stuff, I have to remind myself that like what I want and desire out of life, and like the type of life that I want to live is not like what everybody wants. Because for me, I do have that where I'm like, this is the best way to do things. Like, I can't believe everyone doesn't want to live the way that I want to live. It's literally that meme. It's like, not everyone wants to live the way that you live. And it's like, what do you mean? I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like a literal meme of that. And it's like, I just have to remind myself, you're right, it's not a waste of life. Some people just don't care, and that's okay. But to me, it just blows my mind because I just think that everyone would feel what I feel and the passion that I feel for it. But it's not wrong to not. But this is for people that want to. And what I was thinking also when you said that is like maybe some people haven't left Texas or left their city because of like their like money or family or like not having the opportunity to travel, which is super fair. Like I think again with social media now, it seems like everyone's always traveling, whatever. It's totally not normal to be in a different country 2 times a year or even like every other month or whatever. Like these are people that prioritize travel and people where they are that's their thing. Like like I have a bank account now that's like for travel, and I'm like, I just put my money in there so that if I ever want to just like leave and do nothing and just travel around the world, I can. So it's like more normal for people to take like maybe one vacation a year, if that. So if your priorities are like school or saving for a house or your family or whatever, like, yeah, travel is not a priority because everybody has their different priorities. But
I also
oh yeah,
can I also say that like in the States you get like 2 weeks of annual leave.
bruh,
Like
yeah, I get 3 weeks of PTO all year. Do you know how insane that is? And that's including sick days. I got sick and I had to use my PTO. So I was like, okay, now I'm out 3 days on top of the little trip that I'm taking because I was sick. It's insane. I actually think it's so insane. And then it's like that's including like if you want to take a trip around the holidays, if you want to take that. It's not like you get like the Friday before to go off. So it's like it's just crazy to me. It's like and then when I was applying for jobs in Europe, they offered like 3 months or something of paid time off, and I was like, yeah. And they like force you to take it over there too. They're like, go on holiday. Why aren't you going on holiday? And here they're like, oh, you want the day off because you're sick? Like, dude, on one of my literal phone calls for work, we were like talking about how someone didn't show up to work because they were sick. And we were like, granted, like, don't show up if you're like sick, but at the end of the day, we all know you show up no matter what. All right. And I'm like, bruh, you like someone? No, it's really like I really think the culture, like American culture or just like capitalistic culture in general, maybe the culture that's just slowly growing that's like over hustle grind culture, it's just so toxic. It makes you feel like you're like rushing through like you're always behind, you're always in competition with like this imaginary pressure that doesn't exist. So stupid. That's why I loved Italy so much. The vibe was so like everyone was like, you just live a life and you smoke a cigarette and you sit outside and it's like so chill and everyone's just like chilling. I love that. The just sitting outside and hanging out. Like the fact that I literally deeply crave that in my soul. I did that last week with a friend where like we went and got dinner and in my head I was like, I just want to like chill with people. Like nobody wants to hang out anymore. Everything has to be like I told you this or like girls day and I'm like, does no one want to just like go sit outside and just chit chat about nothing and just like hang out and like maybe talk to random people that are around you and whatever. Like it's such a good vibe and that exists so much more in Europe. And again, I'm not romanticizing Europe over America, but I'm just saying the culture is a little bit more lax and a little bit more, not necessarily in London, but in Italy for sure. Everyone's chill.
yeah, Italy, Greece, Turkey.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I just feel like I've been so much. I like can't. I'm gonna cry. I'm literally not to cry. It's just such a vibe that when I meet people that are just like live so like they don't care, I like get jealous. I'm like, I want to just like live and just like not really have a plan. But everything for me is like, here's the plan. Look, I have my to-do list right here. I'm like, here's the plan for the day. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a bit we have so many more like travel. I know I'm gonna say this word wrong. Travel
And
antidotes.
anecdotes. Blobs. We have
So
so many blobs to share.
so many more blobs to share with you guys. But it's now time for us to, I guess, go through what like chat said with hot takes. But we'll
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
have a part two for sure.
I think we definitely should. I mean, just yeah, we've had so much fun and yeah, so much more coming. So I asked ChatGPT to give us the 10 most like common travel hot takes to see like whether like what our opinions are on them. So the very first classic hot take is that Paris is overrated.
Ooh, we've both been to Paris, so we can comment on this.
I don't think so. I thought it was cool.
I love Paris. I love the Eiffel Tower. I love when it like glitters at night. I feel like that's my aesthetic. Like, is the Eiffel Tower glittering? Like,
That's, yeah.
that's me. I love the Louvre. The Louvre. Like, that's also my like aesthetic 2.0 as well. Just like a giant prism. Like, are you kidding me? That's gorgeous. Like,
It's beautiful and it's fun. It has like a really good energy. I loved it. I loved it.
yeah,
Food
Paris.
was yeah.
Yeah, like no, Paris is not overrated. I like genuinely don't even know why people would think that.
It says many argue it's too crowded, touristy, and not as romantic as the movies. But I'm like, also, like things aren't just gonna be romantic. You have to make them romantic. If you're not a romantic person, you're not gonna feel the romance of a romantic moment. And I love a romantic, honestly. Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
Paris is beautiful, and I like the vibe. Everyone's like, it is a little bit. I mean, again, I think it's like how much are you romanticizing things, and how much are you like yeah, it's not like I guess the movies, but you can go there and you can shoot things and edit it like a beautiful movie. Like I'm just saying, like it possesses those beautiful things. But yeah, there's of course still like okay, there's homeless people just like anywhere else. There's maybe I don't know, but I'm like it 100% is romantic and beautiful, and the food is incredible. I not like the actual Parisian food, but like the pastries. Like I'm a butter croissant queenie and like coffee and croissant like so it was just like the best thing, and like me and my mom went and we got like these Lebanese. There's a lot of Lebanese people in like France and like in Paris and stuff, and we got like Lebanese ice creams. I was just, oh my god, it's so good. Ah,
Yeah. No, like Paris, France. I think for me, because I took French in high school and I'm working on like slowly working on becoming fluent. I think like I've always talked to like Parisians and like French people in French anyways. So I always like then have a really good experience with them because they're like, oh, we can tell that this like American's trying to speak French. Like I'll speak in English for her because she sucks. Like, and they're like, okay, fine, thank you. But like I think people also don't like Parisians or French people because they're like, oh, they are rude to me. It's like, yeah, but you're just trying to speak with them in English. Like, you want people to come to America and learn English so they can speak to you in English. So do the same when you go to France, you know?
yeah, it's like respect for the culture anywhere you go. I think that's like anywhere that you go, you should bring that respect and admiration for the culture instead of showing up and being like like, and it's funny because there is such a stereotype of like Americans, and it like makes me mad that we fit the bill so much. Sometimes, like anytime we're traveling, they're like Americans are loud and they're entitled and they're whatever, and then we're like, what the heck are they talking about? And then we get on the tube and everyone's quiet, and we're like, what? And we're like twirling on the little pole thing, and we're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, spot the American on the tube, man. Crazy. But yeah, I definitely agree. Paris was beautiful. I had like something that I was gonna say, but I forgot, so it's probably not important. Um, Traveling. So, oh, I was gonna. You said French people are rude, and I'm like, that's like a culture thing. Like, you could say people in New York are rude, but it's like it's just maybe they're
Yeah.
not as easery as other people. Like
Yeah.
what? It's like maybe if you grew up in the South, you're used to everyone being fake in your face all the time, or if you grew up on the West Coast, you think everyone should be like, oh, hey girl, hey friend. It's like just get used to it. It's different. I like that kind of culture. I'm like, if you're mean to me, I trust you more. Anyways, number two, traveling solo is better than traveling with friends. Some people claim that solo travel brings more personal growth and freedom, while others find it lonely or overrated.
I love a solo trip. I really do.
I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're just like really different experiences. Like when I wanted to do that Redwoods trip, I kind of did want to do it solo because it's like nature and whatever. It like kind of has that energy of like if you do it solo, you can have more like contemplative like solo moments on the beach and journal and maybe chat with like one random person like at night at dinner or something. It's more like your own personal movie moment. And then when you're with like friends or family or whoever else that you're traveling with, it's a little bit more like it's the difference between like going to a coffee shop alone versus with someone else. Like if you're at the coffee shop alone, you're people watching, you're reading your book, you're whatever, versus if you go with a friend, you're like chit chatting, having a good time. So it's just like a little bit different. It's harder to have those more like reflective moments in a group setting, is all I would say about it.
Yeah, I think there's a time and place for each one.
100%.
So if you're like, oh, okay, I want to do this with my friends. So then obviously like a group trip is going to be better than a solo trip. Or if you're like, okay, like I need space, like I want to be on my own so I can meet who I want to meet and not worry about X, Y, and Z, then it's like, okay, a solo trip is better then. But I think like both experiences are valuable and meaningful, and you can, I would say, like, don't let being with friends stop you from doing something you'd want to do solo as well. Like, you can still visit that coffee shop if your friends aren't down to go. You can still like do that museum, or like, I don't know, you can still like go to a nightclub, And I also do think that like some friends like better enhance your experience. I know that with us, we're pretty like similar in terms of like, I guess, just energy in a way. So I think like we both just attract like people who want to speak to us, no matter if like you were solo or if I were solo, like we would still get that same like. But then I think the difference is then like, do we want to speak to them or do we not want to
You want to hang out or no? Yeah. But no, I'm like a little bit more open to it now. It's just like for me, I'm more like it's kind of like you said, we both have that energy where a lot of people want to speak to us. So for me, I'm just more like selective with like, okay, a lot of people are going to want to hang out, but like, do I want to hang out with them? Like, am I going to actually enjoy my time, or am I hanging out with them because they asked me to hang out with them? Especially if you're like, for example, on a solo trip, maybe you meet someone at your hostel and they're like, let's do this together. Let's do this together because they don't want to do it alone. And then you're like, well, maybe I'd have more fun alone if that person's a downer. But most of the time, people are really chill. The other thing is, I think it builds like it's important to do things on your own in general in life. Like, so if you're scared of going on solo trip, maybe go like explore the city that you live in solo, like as if you're on vacation, and experience that. Experience what it's like to go places by yourself and try to spark combo, or just go chill and not even talk to random people or whatever, because it builds a sense of confidence to know that you can survive in the world on your own without having to rely on a group or anybody else. Like it really builds a sense of confidence that I think is very important, especially when you're transitioning from being like 18 into your 20s. It's very like, oh, I'm so used to being part of a group, whether it's like in school and my family and whatever. And now you're like an adult on your own, and you have to start to build that confidence to represent yourself and like carry yourself in the world alone and be okay to do that. Like I don't have to rely on my friends to feel comfortable at the nightclub by myself. Like I know I could do that. I think I love like scrappy moments a little bit more when it comes to like nightlife. Like my favorite parts of nightlife are always like the dancing and stuff is always fun, but it's always like when you're just like hanging out outside and just talking to randoms and everyone's like smoking their cigs outside and you're just chilling. Like that's always like my vibe. I'm like, it's just fun to like chat with random people sometimes. And then yeah, decide how far you want to take that. Like, do we want to go on a helicopter ride with this random Eastern European man, or do we go home and get our 8 hours helicopter? Okay, number three. You don't need to quit your job to travel the world. Obviously.
I mean, yeah, you don't. Like, I mean, maybe in the States when you have like 14 days of vac. No, I'm kidding. I
Yeah.
think yeah, like just do you like find a remote job. Actually, don't, because the market's oversaturated and I'm trying to find a remote job. So, JK, stay in your place.
Stay in your place until I can for my job, then start applying. Until that time,
Then you
no one
can.
apply.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's exactly what you said earlier. It's just about prioritizing. Like someone who prioritizes travel is able to still have like a full-time in-person job, but still like make time for travel. And when we say travel, like Amna brought up earlier, it doesn't have to be this like big international trip. It can be like, oh, I live in California, I'm going to Oregon for the weekend. Like I live in California, in LA, I'm going down to San Diego for the weekend. I took so many trips to San Diego when I lived in LA, and for me that was traveling. Like I was in my car driving like yeah, the hour or two to a whole nother city. So it's like you can choose. I know this couple actually. I met them in Belgium, and they lived in Deutschland, in Germany, and they would every weekend, and it's easy of course when you're in Europe, but that's to get to another country. It can be easy in the States as well, but it's they would every weekend choose like a new like destination to road trip to and spend like that Friday through like Monday morning or something. I was like, that's really cool. And they worked full time. So yeah, you can do both. You can have it all.
Yeah. And like do what you if it's some obviously if you're drawn to listening to this episode or this type of conversation, then you have some kind of interest in wanting to travel. So it's like if that's something that you desire and that you want in your life, then like find ways to do what you want within what's possible for yourself. Like, okay, I can't afford a $500 ticket or $1,000 ticket to Europe right now, and I can't take off 2 months of work and whatever. That doesn't mean that you can't still, like, it's still so possible for you, like you said, to just plan ways to get into that travel mindset. And if you do want to do like a huge backpacking trip, then yeah, maybe you have to take a sabbatical or a little break from work. And if that's a priority, then save up some money and have your, make sure you put all your stuff in storage and just go for it. I mean, that's like been a dream. I'm like, I can't wait. When I first moved out here, I was like, I want to put all my stuff in storage and just go and be free. But it just depends on what you want. But yeah, so you
Yeah,
don't need to quit your job. Yeah,
and you
like
can
it's
do
that's the same thing. Yeah.
you can literally there's a visa in like for this is for US citizens. It's in Australia and maybe Ireland and New Zealand, but it's literally called a working holiday visa. You can like either quit your job here in the States, or if you don't have one, if you're young, you don't have a job yet, you can go to those countries and you can work and save money. And they like pay well too, so you can save money there and then travel. If you live in another country, like just explore your options. If you live in Latin America, I know that like I don't know the options, but like I know you might not be able to do a working holiday visa in Australia. They're pretty strict, unfortunately. But like you can see where you can do, where you can do a working holiday visa. If you live in Africa, like see where you can do a working holiday visa. There's so many different ways as well to actually. I might do one actually at the end of this year in New Zealand because it's up until 30. Not aging myself, but like time's a ticking. So like
You ready, Anna?
So yeah, you can work abroad. Like, look, if you're qualified in something, why don't you look to see who's sponsoring you for a visa? You could do a work abroad for a year and be like, okay, like F this, I'm going back to the States, or like, oh, I love it here, I want to like live here and work here. Like, you can do both.
100%. Anything is possible. I think we have time for maybe like two more, so let me see if there's any that are really fun. Okay, this one just real quick because you recently went on a cruise. It says you don't really experience a place on a cruise. What do you think about that?
Um, I actually like, unfortunately, I think I agree with that one. Um, we started in Miami. It was my first time in Miami, but we did Miami and then we did I don't even remember. But okay, we did some like fake island that was man-made by the cruise, like Coco Bay or something. I was like, what is this? And then we did Can I get Cancun and Cozumel confused? I think we went to Cozumel. And
Oh,
oh my gosh, I love Cozumel. I would like live there, spend my whole life there, but we were only there for one day. And I
yeah.
was like, oh, dang, this sucks. And the cruise was also just like so expensive. I was like, why is it so expensive? Like, we just went to Cozumel and then we went to this fake island. And I think like that was it. And it was like for our families, like one of our cousins was like graduating and they chose to do a cruise for their graduation party. So the whole family was there. That was really nice to be with my whole family and to spend time with them because I've not seen them because I'm living in London. But like I was just like, oh, I feel like you can get so much more bang for your buck and like actually explore somewhere without a cruise. A cruise is cool if you just want to like be on a boat and in the sea. And I love the sea. I love sailing actually. But I was just like, oh, I feel as though like we're not getting that much time to explore in these really beautiful places when we could just like pay to fly there and explore them.
It's just like another different way to travel. I feel like there's just so many ways to travel. That's why people say like when you're dating someone you should travel with them so you can like suss out their vibe. Like, are you like a sleep in or are you like a get up at 6 a.m.? I'm such a like, can we watch the sunrise together? Like that's like I feel like once I'm on vacation with someone and they wake me up at 6 a.m. and they're like, we're gonna go hike and watch the sunrise, I'll know they're my soulmate. For real, for real. Even though honestly that's like a huge percentage of people, so he ain't gonna be hard to find.
Did you hear
But like
that, guys? The guys of Let's Chat
no,
GPT.
like people, as long as you're someone that has an appreciation for nature, I think most people love that. It's just that you don't actually want to wake up. Like the idea is fun, but even for me, like I'm like, we'll watch the sunset. Like, but sunrise is so good. Sunrise is such a different feeling than sunset because sunset's like goodbye day, but sunrise is like you're welcoming the day and you get to watch it begin and everything's waking up. Okay. But yeah, I agree. There's just different ways to travel. Like a cruise is a cruise. You're like there for the all inclusive. It's kind of like an all inclusive resort vibe, is what I would assume. It's kind of like that kind of fun vibe where you're like we're just letting loose with a fun group. Like imagine solo traveling on a cruise. That's not the vibe. You know, like it's like a fun group thing. But then like yeah, and so there's just different ways. Um, let's see. Then I asked for some little more like niche ones. Um, Hostel bunk beds should be banned. What? It says hostel bunk beds should be banned above the age of 28. Get out of here. Why are people trying to age us out of everything? I'm over it. You guys are haters. That's what you are. You're a hater. I'm getting in the bunk bed. I want it to be limited to like younger travelers that genuinely might not have any like assets or something or like a job or something. I mean, I don't
What about
know.
the older people who don't have any assets? Where are we supposed to go?
No, I'm kidding. It says a soft call out to aging back. Did chat just make this one up because it knows it was like my 29th day and it was like, nobody wants you there. How do you feel? I said, give me a hot take. It said, I will. So that one's like, whatever. That's stupid. I've never heard anyone say it to my face. The other day, someone guessed I was 25. So, like, I'm still like, I'm passing. Honestly, I
I
look 18 on a good day.
I get 22 sometimes and I love it. I'm like 22?
Yeah. I think that if my personality was a little bit more cheery on the day to day, like on a good day when I'm feeling really bubbly, I've never really gotten 21, I don't think. I get carded a lot though. Okay. Anyways, it says um window seat is better than the aisle seat, obviously. You
Duh.
Yeah, who wants what is the benefit of an aisle seat? So people can hit you on their way to the bathroom and wake you up. You can't even cross your legs because then your feet or like your toe points out into the aisle. Sleeping at the airport is low key a rite of passage. My mom has done that way too much. My mom has the like pretty recently had some bad luck with some planes, but it's because she's not willing to spend the extra cash on like a direct flight. So she books the ones with all the layovers and stuff. And this past trip that she took to London to visit her mom, her flight back, she had like this long, like overnight layover in Boston. And I was like, did you book a hotel? And she was like, no, I'm just gonna try to get a flight when I'm in Boston there. And then she like didn't want to actually do it, so she had to sleep at the airport. She was so tired. I'm like, what are you doing? Just plan ahead. And that
Yeah.
to California, she got put on. Oh my god, like just a whirlwind. Well, I forgot what it was, but it was like we booked. Oh well, my idea for that trip was to get a car from San Francisco, drive up and drive back. But then we were like, this is actually really tight, and there we could repeat or return the car in where we were. I think it was like Eureka or whatever. And then they had a really small airport, like literally two gates, two planes. That's it, tiny airport, very like local. And we were like, oh, awesome, there's a flight back to San Francisco, so we'll get the flight back instead of driving the 6 hours or whatever back. And we like watched the first flight go to the San Francisco airport. We got the one right after it, and that one was delayed, and we barely gave ourselves layover time. So we were like sprinting to her gate, and we were begging it. We're like, please let her on the flight, like because the plane was still there. I was like, and the thing was still out, like the little hallway. I was like, just let her on the plane, like please. Especially for me, because I had my flight, and I was like, I'm gonna feel so bad leaving my mom at the airport. And then
Yeah.
I had her and sprint to mine because I was like, girl, I got work, I gotta go. So then I left, and then they didn't let her on that flight. They booked her a terrible flight, like out of Atlanta and whatever. It was just like so crazy. And I felt so bad. She was like, instead of sleeping at the airport though, she got like a crazy flight and she just slept on the flight. Like her flight was like flying to Atlanta and then flying to DFW or something, and she didn't have to like switch planes. So I was like, okay, instead of sleeping on the air at the airport, you're sleeping on a plane that's like flying around the US. Like it's insane. On a plane though, it feels so like, especially those like. Have you been on the smaller planes where it feels like really small and kind of raggedy, and you're like, what? I bet you have. Like the ones that just have the really, I like kind of the ones, the Ryanair flights, but I'm
Oh,
trying to,
right. Oh, okay.
but not like Ryan. I'm trying to think of the flight that me and my mom took where it was. I think it was, or maybe it was when we took, you were on the flight to Mykonos though. That wasn't a raggedy small one. I'm trying to think. It was like a flight that me and my mom took home, maybe from Milan to somewhere, but it was like really small and like no, I love when like no one's on the flight and we each got a row to ourselves, and it was like late at night. I just remember it felt so like cozy, and I watched this like jungle movie, and I was like, I think I'm on fun. And I think it was like raining or something, like stormy, but I don't know. It was a lot of turbulence, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like turbulence. It makes me feel like I'm living life on. I'm always like, what's happening? I was so desperate for a thrill. My brain's not okay.
Well, I actually do like I oh no, I don't like turbulence, but I do like sometimes I guess when you like have turbulence and then you're like, this is my time to pray and like give that to God.
It really like forces you to connect back with your like spirituality and your relationship with God, because you're like, what did I do to deserve this? Is it because I stole from the self checkout at Target? I'm sorry. No, yeah, it's so fun. I mean, for me, I think I just have such a like, if it's time, like if this is what God wants for me, like just pick a
Then
cute
it's
picture
time.
for choose, you know? Yeah. Um,
Do we have time
okay.
for any more? Is it time to
Yeah, I think that's it. None of the other ones are really that good and stuff. We did have, yeah, my alarm's going off. I asked it to give us some like, what would you do type of situations, but maybe we'll do that in a follow up episode where it gives us a scenario and we tell you guys what we would do to like get out of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we definitely have a part two, maybe even a part three. We'll
oh my God,
see.
maybe it's going to turn into a travel podcast. It's going to turn into a travel vlog podcast channel. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed listening to us chat, a little bit with chat, mostly with each other. But yeah, if you guys want to leave your favorite places you've ever traveled, any controversial opinions that you have, hit us up with it because we want to hear it. I love hearing what people have to say, their favorite place they've ever traveled, their worst hostel horror stories, whatever you got. We want to hear it.
Yes, we do. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.